that they could come and learn from experts here. So that they could come and learn from experts that have gathered here together to share their knowledge with us. So this webinar aims to educate participants on the challenges elephants face, share strategies for their conservation, and inspire collective action to ensure the survival of these magnificent creatures for future generations. So once again, I welcome you all. I will go ahead to make introductions of the guests we have here. I want to welcome each and every one of you here today. I want to first of all introduce the Conservator General of the National Park Service, Dr. Ibrahim Musa Goni. He's from... Sir, I can hear you. Can't you hear me? Should I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Dr. Ibrahim Musa Goni is from Bogu, Niger State, and Bogu, Niger State is where the first national park in the country was established. It's named Kainji Lake National Park. The CG has PhD Wildlife Management and Ecotourism. He was appointed the Conservator General in 2017 and got renewed in 2022. He's a fellow of the Wildlife Society of Nigeria, also a fellow of Tourism Professional of Nigeria. He's also a member of the African Protected Areas Directors and many more. It was during his time that the federal government approved the establishment of 10 new National Park Service. He has established and strengthened existing collaborations with both government and NGOs, both home and abroad. He is married with children and grandchildren, and we are honored to have him here today in our midst. Secondly, we have Dr. Salamat J. Father, she's a conservation biologist, an educator, a climate action specialist. She's an international development specialist, a charity owner, politician, and mother with over 20 years of research and practice experience in academia, the third sector, and consultancy role for government and businesses in Africa and the UK. She has conducted pioneering research on vegetation change in Africa, science, and Nigerian government. Through her company, JAVS Environmental Care Limited, which cooperates in Nigeria, the UK, and Ghana, Dr. Salamatu consults globally for business, government, institutions, and individuals on conservation and environmental management. We are also honored to have her here in our midst today. I'm going to be introducing our third speaker, Mr. Sheifumi Adebote. He's an environmentalist who is experienced in media professional with a strong focus on global environmental issues and diplomatic priorities. His notable achievements include managing communication for multinationals, publishing numerous articles, and significantly growing the social media presence of the Embassy of Sweden in Nigeria. Currently, he is based in Sweden, pursuing research in environmental communication and sustainability, while continuing to document climate story through broadcasts and news publications. He is skilled in brand management, team building, and diplomatic relation. We're honored to have you here, sir. And the next person is our founder and CEO of the Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative, Mr. Felix Olusola Abayomi. He is the founder of WACI. He's a dedicated environmental specialist and wildlife advocate. He's based in the United States. Currently, he is pursuing a PhD in education and professional practices with a specialization in environmental sustainability at Antioch University Online. With over a decade of multifaceted experience in environmental conservation and management, Felix combined academic rigor with practical experts to drive impactful conservation initiative. Felix's professional journey is marked by significant contributions to various environmental conservation projects. He has successfully partnered with 7 distinct environmental conservation organizations, playing a pivotal role in implementing impactful initiatives. His expertise spans managing project details related to sea turtle nesting protection, population survey of montane forest, and pangolin conservation efforts. In his previous role as a bird removal technician at Meridian Bird Removal, Felix leveraged his conflict resolution and crisis management skills to mediate and facilitate group discussion, engage stakeholders, and guide junior team members. He is, like I said, the founder of Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative. If not for him, there won't be WACI. So we are honored to have you here, sir. I don't know if there are other key contributors, key guests that are supposed to be here, but I'm not sure they are here yet. So I would leave that part until when they have arrived, then I will introduce them once they come. I want to make welcome also the ACG of the National Park Service. We're honored to have you here, sir. Thank you so much, everyone who is here, who has thought it wise to abandon every other thing that they are doing and to be here in this wonderful and great event. I am honored to be part of those who will be listening to all the presentations that will be going on here. And I believe that you will not regret being in this event this afternoon. Once again, I say welcome. Thank you very much. At this junction, I would like to invite Mr. Francis to give a brief review.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Perpetual, for the wonderful introduction, and I also want to use this opportunity to thank the founder and pioneer of this great initiative. And I also want to extend thanks to all our guests, both our speakers, our contributors, as well as our presenters, and not to forget our audience listening and joining us from all over the world. I want to say a special thank you for making out time out of your busy schedule to attend this wonderful event. Okay, so the Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative, WACI, is a non-profit organization dedicated and committed towards raising a generation that is knowledgeable and motivated to take positive actions on behalf of African wildlife, which encompasses wild fauna and flora. And since 2016, we've engaged over 1,000 volunteers, including entities from different parts of the world, to champion efforts targeted at conserving and educating the people, our audience, and volunteers about wildlife through various programs, projects, and volunteering efforts. Not to forget, our vision, which still remains the same, is targeted at cultivating a generation that is not only knowledgeable, but also increasingly motivated to take these positive actions towards African wildlife. And we strive to create an environmentally aware and responsible youth that holds a deep appreciation for the natural world. Our mission, which states and reads, is to collaborate with educators in primary, secondary, and tertiary education, forming partnership with research institutions, non-governmental organizations, the private sector, cultural organizations, both at local, natural, national, regional, and international levels. Through these partnerships, we aim to promote the appreciation and knowledge of African flora and fauna people. And not to forget, the Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative, WACI, is on social, and we want to encourage everyone to engage us via either of our social media handles. On Twitter, you can search, locate, and engage us via our handle at wildlife_A_crew. And on Facebook, you can engage us via handle at Wildlife Africa Initiative. While on Instagram, you can find us at wildlife_Africa_crew. And not to forget our website, where you can find so many of our works, more information about us, and some of the exciting things we are currently engaged in. You can visit us at www.wildlifeafrica.net. So please, we want to encourage everyone to try as much as possible to engage us, to volunteer with us, tell more people about what we're doing, and spread the good work that WACI is championing. And once again, I want to thank everyone for making our time to join this wonderful event. And I also want to extend my special thanks to the moderator and the organizers. Thank you once again.
Okay, thank you so much. At this point, I would want to welcome the CG for his opening remark. As you all know, the CG is the chief host of this event. So I would want to welcome him.
Thank you, Mr. Francis. And yes. What about, can you place the agenda again so that we know where we are, please?
Okay, sir. Mr. Sherry, please, the agenda, please. Thank you.
Yes, so I think from the agenda, we have taken the welcome and the introduction, then the review of the agenda. Has that been done? Because I've been off for some time. Has that been done?
Yes, sir, that has been done, and Mr. Francis has already given a brief overview of WACI.
Overview of WACI, eh?
Yes, sir.
I'm now to give my welcome remarks.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we stood down an item that is the prayer by Mr. Tauhid. Mr. Tauhid is not on.
Sir,
so
I'm on, sir.
Go to the...
I'm available.
Okay, can you give us the opening prayer?
All right, sir. All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
We thank you, O Lord, for the life of our father, the Conservator General, National Parks of Nigeria, Dr. Ibrahim Goni, and other National Parks workers for their tremendous effort in safeguarding the wildlife and their species. We also want to thank you for the life of our founder of Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative, a non-profit organization focused on the conservation of wildlife by inspiring our growing generations to take positive actions for biodiversity, Mr. Felix Abayomi. We pray to, oh Lord, to continue to be with him and his family. We also thank you, oh Lord, for the life of our mother, Dr. Salamatu J. Fada, for honoring our invitation, and also the life of our very good brothers and family, Mr. Sheifumi Adebote. We thank you, Lord, for the life of every staff and volunteers of WACI. We pray to you, Lord, for this not to be the last that we will celebrate in life. We thank you, Lord, that you have answered our prayer. For in Jesus' name we have prayed.
Mr. Oladipo now. He didn't do anything. He should have downloaded and printed out all these things.
Amen.
Hello, sir.
Amen. Amen.
So thank you very much. May God accept the prayer.
Amen, sir.
Amen.
Yes. So let me once again welcome everybody that is on this webinar. I expected that Mr. Perpetua will give us the opportunity for everybody to self-introduce himself so that we know who and who are joining this webinar. So maybe, can I?
Sir, you can go ahead, sir. You are the chief host.
Yes, so please let us quickly introduce ourselves so that we know who and who are on the webinar. So starting with me, I'm Ibrahim Musa Goni, the Conservator General National Park Service. Next person can do so, please. Next person.
Okay, my name is Francis Ogwaju. I'm a volunteer for Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative.
Thank you very much. Next person.
My name is Mrs. Perpetua Awo. I am the Operations Officer of Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative.
Thank you very much, Perpetua. Next person.
My name is Oduola Toy Babatunde. I am the Lagos Lagoon Water Keeper Project Officer, sir.
Okay.
Sister Organization to Wildlife of Africa.
All right. Who is next?
I'm Felix Abayomi, founder of WACI, currently attending from Cumberland, Maryland. Happy to be here with all of you.
Thank you. Next.
I can go next. My name is Sheifumi Adebote. I am an environmentalist and communicator, and I'm glad to be here.
All right. Thank you very much. Next person.
Can I go?
Okay.
My name is Ngozi.
Please, one at a time, one at a time. The lady first. The lady, please, can we hear you?
Okay, my name is Ngozi.
Come again.
My name is Amina Ibrahim, and I am an environmentalist and an intern with Dr. Fada.
Okay. Thank you. Next person.
Can I go?
Yes,
my name is Ngozi Lukaibe. I'm a graduate of Forestry and Wildlife of Delta State University. I've been following WACI and have so much interest in wildlife.
Okay, it's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Yes. Next person.
Can I go now, sir?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Sawan Chening Michael. I'm also a graduate of Forestry and Wildlife Management from the defunct Federal University of Agriculture, Makodi, now Joseph Sawan Taka University, Makodi. I learned about Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative just yesterday, and I picked interest, and by His grace, I'm here with you. And it's a pleasure meeting you, sir.
Thank you very much. You are also welcome. And we are happy that you are joining us. Next person. Next person.
Morning, sir. Morning, sir. My name is Tahir Ali, Special Media Assistant.
Thank you, Dahiru. Next person.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is Ali Adombajoga, working with Wildlife Society, Wildlife Conservation Society, WCS, Yankari Operation.
Okay. Alhaji Bajoga, you are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my name is Eniola, and I'm a volunteer for wildlife for WACI, graduate of applied zoology. Yes, sir.
So can you repeat again, because it appears some people will not get you clearly.
Okay, sir. So my name is Eniola Adiola. I'm a volunteer for WACI, graduate of applied zoology.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You are welcome. Next.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Dr. Patricia Otu. I'm a veterinarian. but a wildlife enthusiast, and worked with University of Ibadan as a wildlife veterinarian. So I'm interested in the webinar, and I was made known to know about this webinar by Professor Mabo Wale, that it's also a wildlife veterinarian that taught all of us. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. Next.
Morning,
Hello, good
sir.
morning.
And morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is DCP Fintir Mamjoro of the Research Department of the National Park Service. Thank you, and over.
Thank you, Fintri. Next. Yes.
My name is Oladipo Cornelius, and SCG is National Park Service.
All right. Next person.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Yes, sir. My name is Martin Emmanuel. I'm a graduate of Agric Extension and Management, and I'm also a wildlife photographer. Thank you.
That's interesting. You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Next.
Morning, CG, sir. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Chief Park Warden Bello Nuhu of the National Park Service. I work with the Department of Planning, Research, and ICT. I'm so pleased to be here, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning.
My name is Abdul Malik Imran from the Bird and Wildlife Hazard Management Unit of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. I'm glad to be
That's interesting.
Work with the National Park Service.
Thank you. Thank you and welcome. Next.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes.
Sorry, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Madina Dauda. I work with the National Park Service from the legal unit.
You're welcome, Madina.
Thank you, sir. Morning, sir.
Morning. Next.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, CG, sir. It's good to see you.
It's a
My
pleasure.
name is Salamatu Fada. I am a conservationist. There are a lot of hats, but in this meeting, I'm just a speaker. So I'll be speaking to you later.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Quite sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Next.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My CG and all protocol duly observed.
Yeah.
My name is Bokale Felicia from National Park Service, Odo National Park.
Felicia,
I'm happy
welcome.
to be here, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I think I'm impressed with the number of attendees. This is very interesting. Let's go ahead. Next person. Well, I think as we proceed, we can also be doing the introduction. Then the next item is maybe my welcome remark. I can see Dr. Enyang, Professor Enyang. Prof.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Introduce yourself.
Okay, so thank you very much. My name is Professor Adam Enyang, the Executive Director, Biodiversity Preservation Center, Nigeria. I'm happy to be in this important meeting. Thank you very much, with due respect to the CG and all other colleagues. God bless you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So maybe for now, we will go on to the next item. And as we proceed, people can signify. And when you signify that you want to talk, we'll give you the opportunity. If you are joining for the first time, we'll allow you to introduce yourself. Thank you. So, like I said, I want to welcome everybody once again to this important webinar. which is aimed at joining other people in the world to celebrate the African wildlife conservation, particularly the Elephant Day. It is dedicated to the preservation and protection of the world's elephants. The day was conceived in 2011 by some Canadian filmmakers, Patricia Sims and Michael Clark, along with Sivapon Ranada, who is Secretary General of the Elephant Reintroduction Foundation in Thailand. Since its inception in 2012, World Elephant Day has gained recognition and celebration from over 100 wildlife organizations and individuals across the globe. Bello, can you share my remarks on the platform as I'm reading? If you have it in soft copy, Bello. The goal is to raise awareness about the urgent lack of African and Asian elephants and share positive solutions for their better care and management. The species is classified as endangered on the IUCN Red Data list of endangered species. A century ago, the species was more than 12 million in the wild, but very sadly today, the current population estimate of the African elephants are about 400,000, while the Asian elephant are about 40,000. The call for the species protection at this time is therefore very critical in view of the vital role they play in their ecosystems, as well as contributing towards tourism and community incomes in many areas. Elephants play a significant role in maintaining ecosystem balance. They trample forests and dense grasslands, making room for smaller species to coexist. They create water holes used by other wildlife as they dig dry riverbeds when rainfall is low. Has traveled over vast rangeland and disperse seeds in their dung, which helps to generate new green growth. Elephants provide food for other organisms in the ecosystem. They are important ecosystem engineers by making pathway in dense forested habitat that allow passage for other animals. They also serve as means of transportation. Concerning the fact that the species is facing so many threats that may lead to its extinction in the nearest future if not checked. The National Park Service, being the foremost biodiversity conservation organization in the country, is at the forefront of elephant conservation, protection, and preservation. The efforts of the service in this regard has led to the interception of a suspected traffic elephant in Maiduguri recently by park rangers of Chad Basin National Park, which of course is a good case in point. Safeguarding marauding elephants in Kebbi is another effort the National Park Service is carrying on, as well as Niger and Kwara states. We are working with these states in preserving the pockets of elephants they have. And some of these states have even made necessary arrangements, which are in the pipeline, to create sanctuary for some of these elephants to ensure that they protect them for propagation. Also, a few months ago, the service, in collaboration with a non-governmental organization called Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Production Company, SIPCO, has developed an elephant conservation project in Cross River National Park for effective protection of forest elephants in the park. This is the company's way of giving back to the community. In the same vein, elephants of Okomu National Park have gained additional protection by the collaboration of the service with African nature investors. African nature investors have been working in Gashaka Gumti National Park. 2 years ago, they have extended their activities to Okomu National Park. And that collaboration is actually giving enhanced protection to our elephants in that area. There's also this collaboration between the service and sustainable conservation education for rural areas, SCARA, to further strengthen their protection and conservation in and around Okomu National Park. Unfortunately, the prevailing insecurity situation in Kamuku National Park, Kanji Lake National Park, and Nigeria is a home to both forest and savanna elephants, playing a crucial role in maintaining healthy ecosystems. 2, unfortunately, Nigeria's elephant population has declined significantly over the years due to ivory demand, habitat loss, migration, and agricultural expansion. Currently, these elephants are mostly confined to protected areas, occupying just 1% of the total country's land area. All existing national parks in Nigeria house elephants, except Old Oyo National Park. Illegal logging and farm encroachment threaten these protected areas and, by extension, the population of these elephants. Therefore, human-elephant conflict is a growing issue, adding to pressure on the remaining elephant population. However, there are many good news about elephant conservation in Nigeria. It is important to note that Nigeria is a signatory to CITES and the Convention on Migratory Species. The Nigerian government has signed into law the Endangered Species Act with the assistance of the United Nations Office for Drugs. Based on this, Nigeria has developed and launched a national strategy to combat forest and wildlife crimes. The federal government has also developed and signed into law the National Park Service Regulation to close the gap between the Act and the existing regulation. National Park Service, together with other relevant government and non-governmental organizations, are working together to further strengthen elephant conservation and protection in Nigeria. For example, the Elephant Protection Initiative, United Nations Office for Drug and Crime, UNESCO, European Union, Nigerian Conservation Foundation, Wildlife Conservation Society, African Nature Investor, SCARA, WACI, Wild Aid, NC, Nigerian Customs Service, NESRA, and many states governments are working together, creating effective and efficient public enlightenment, sensitizations, awareness campaign, etc., etc. It is also worthy to note that the federal government has identified very viable forest areas, which in no distant time, they have been upgraded already. And in no distant time, the federal government will take over their management to ensure that elephants have more room to roam about. The protection of elephant and its habitat is a shared responsibility that requires a collaboration of government at all levels. Local communities, CBO, community-based organization, NGOs, religious organizations, traditional institutions, celebrities, and individuals. To this end, government agencies need to strengthen legal framework and enforce laws to combat poaching and illegal wildlife trade. As part of the Nigerian government's efforts, piles of elephant tusk and other derivatives from illegal wildlife trade were crushed in 2022 And by 2023, with the support of our development partners, that's the material from the crushing has been molded into an elephant sculpture, which is standing in the headquarters of the National Park Service. The sculpture was commissioned 2 weeks ago by the Minister of State, Federal Minister of Environment, Dr. Isiaq Salako. This is to give credence to the efforts of the Nigerian government in supporting elephant conservation. Therefore, conservation organizations that play a crucial role in raising awareness about the importance of elephant habitat and mobilizing other people to support elephant conservation is recognized and appreciated. They can work with local communities to develop sustainable livelihood that reduce dependence on natural resources and promote coexistence of elephants and other wildlife species. In addition, conservation organizations are also employed to provide technical and financial support for the development of park and forest guards who are ensuring effective protection of these iconic wildlife species. Finally, I wish to call on local communities, the indigenous people, government at all levels, individuals, entrepreneurs, development partners, and donors to support the conservation initiative of the federal government of Nigeria, and by extension, the world, to minimize human-wildlife conflict and stop the decimation of elephants and their habitat. Once again, I wish you all happy World Elephant Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate this presentation. Thank you so much. And I would like us to go rightly into it and call on Mr. Sheifumi Adebote for his presentation. Please, before we continue, sir, Dr. Salamatu has already taken permission that she won't be staying till the close of the event because she has another engagement. So after Mr. Sheifumi, I think would give her the opportunity to speak to us. Thank you so much. Mr. Sheifumi, you can go on.
That is all right. It's all right. So, Mr. Shei, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, CG. Thank you very much, Perpetual. And hello to everyone. My name is Sheifumi Adebote, as I was earlier introduced, and I work within the communication and environmental space. But I'll start by saying that about, say, 10 years ago, when I was trying to find my path, I came across Felix Abayomi, and he was the one who, at the time, brought me into the wildlife space, as it were. And I was the director of advocacy for this organization for a period of time. And during that time, I worked very closely with the National Park Service. So I want to say thank you to Felix for that and for the consistency through the years. So my presentation will be very brief. I know that time is not on our side, but I'll start by sharing this picture. This was a picture that was taken at the Jos Wildlife Park 6 years ago, exactly 6 years ago, 12th of August in 2018. I was visiting Jos with my friend, and we were at the Jos Wildlife Park where we saw this elephant. He took this picture, and I still remember this memory very, very much, and I treasure it because it was my first time up close with animals that were not so encaged, that were not in very deplorable states. I've been to some zoological gardens. I've been to, other forms of animal storage facilities, I will call it that way. But it was nice to see this elephant in a very open area roaming around, and I was able to get close, and there was this connection that was, unique in its sense. And it's on that I will anchor my presentation. I wouldn't do so much about the figures, the data. I know that we have some profs, doctors, and are very capable people from the National Park Service that will be doing all of that. But I will speak towards how do we communicate the importance of safeguarding wildlife? And today, the anchor point will be elephants. And why is it important that we do this? If I also mention 2 days ago was the World Lions Day. And I remember my very first attempt at also seeing a lion in the wild was in 2013, about 11 years ago, when I was doing a research study as part of my my study as a student, studying forestry and wildlife at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. And we were in Kanji Lake National Park for some months. And as part of that research, we needed to go around and look for traces of lions' presence and their fecal droppings and their paw and all that. And it was a very exciting experience for me because it was like I was being immersed in nature and experiencing what it felt like. And I knew that as a young person then, this is not, or this sort of made me understand the need to appreciate wildlife. But how many more people, I mean, there are millions of young people that will not have this experience. So my first recommendation that I put forward is the need for access to wildlife spaces. I know we have 7 or is it 8 national parks right now, and 10 have been approved, as the Conservator General mentioned during his speech. But this means that there is more opportunities for, the average Nigerian to have access to these parks. But how many people know that these parks exist in the first place? And this is where the role of communication comes in. This leads me to my second point, which is around documenting what happens in the wild. Apart from, people who run zoological garden taking pictures just to advertise their trade, I think it's also important for many people who have the skills to document, either through written text, through telling stories, through visuals, drone images, for them to document what it is like to be with nature, to experience what it is like up close with wildlife, or experiencing their lifestyle and what it really means to appreciate nature in that sense. I see my friend Olatunji on the call, and I know he does a really good job around wildlife photography, which is really amazing. And there's a need for many more young people, many more skilled people, many more international agencies to look into how can we document the realities, the stories, and by these positive stories. Sometimes when, very recently there's been this trending story about chimpanzees. We've also seen this for gorillas and for many other wild animals. The stories that are being put forward are stories of where they are maimed, where they are killed. Not many people show them, flourishing. Not many people show them. Sometimes they show them where they are very sick or where they've not been fed well. So I really think it's time for us to also think about how can we tell the positive stories about our wildlife? How can we tell the very exciting things that endears other people to appreciate wildlife? The third point that I want to make is the fact that human-wildlife conflict is not new. I suppose some of our other speakers will speak to that, but it's important that we also know that there are best practices in other parts of the world that can be mirrored in places like Nigeria. I was speaking with a friend from Sri Lanka quite recently, and he shared with me how they were dealing with the issues of elephants coming into their farms and just taking over the old farms. And I found it really interesting because he talked about how, there are like different crops and the type of crops that these animals like. And it made me think about how can we take some of this knowledge in Sri Lanka, an Asian country with a lot more elephants, maybe than in some parts of Nigeria, but how can we use this knowledge to learn how we can coexist? So this means that we should not just stay in our bubble or just think in the usual way. It's also important that we're able to exchange knowledge. What are other countries, other parts of the world doing to really live with nature, to appreciate nature, and to see that wildlife is not being threatened, which is the theme, the whole point of each of the wildlife days, from Elephant Days today to Lion Day to Baboon Day, whatsoever you think of. So I think it's this is the third point that I want to make. And as I close, I once again would say congratulations to the CG and the National Park Service for the new National Park Service that has been, I mean, in paper, it's been launched, and we know that very soon it will be in operation. But this also means that there is a need for more financial instruments. There's a need for mobilizing more human resources if these national parks will really live up to their expectations. I say this because I have spent some time in the wildlife parks, in some national parks. I've done a few research around this, and I know that it is quite challenging to run many of these national parks. If you compare this to what happens in other parks outside of the country, for example, you will see that it's a struggle to maintain the existing national parks. So with the fact that there will be more national parks, it means it's going to be more demands, more financial resources will be needed. And perhaps as people outside of the government space, we can also lend our voice and complement the request of the national park to see that more attention is given to protecting wildlife, protecting nature, more resources is being funneled into that sector. And I really do hope that when these additional 10 national parks come in place with the right resources, we can have more people getting access to wildlife. We can have the opportunity to exchange international knowledge in ways that are really useful. And we can get more people telling positive stories about wildlife, particularly some of the very signatory wildlife that we have. Think of chimpanzees, think of lions, think of elephants, and the many more. So at this point, I will pass the mic back to Perpetual, and I'm looking forward to listening and learning from the other speakers and contributors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Shea. I really appreciate. I want to also use this opportunity to thank you for your effort in putting this program together. When I thought about this program, I said, okay, let me run to somebody who is wiser than me, and you advised me on the right thing to do. We also spoke to other people who put hands together with the chief host, the Conservator General, and I'm happy that this event is really, really successful so far. Thank you so much. Right now, I would like to call on Dr. Salamat J. Fada for her presentation, but before then, she sent a jingle that he did, and I would like Mr. Shea to please kindly help us play the jingle. Thank you.
Land enriched with Nigeria is a land enriched with vast biodiversity and ecotourism treasures. The iconic African elephant is one of nature's gifts found in several natural reserves in Nigeria, such as Omo Forest Reserve, Okomo National Park, Old Oyo National Park, Cross River National Park, and in some villages in southwestern part of the country. The largest population of African savanna elephant is found in Yankari Game Reserve. Some also in Kainji Lake and Lake Chad Basin National Parks. Both species of the African elephants have greatly reduced in population and have been recategorized by the IUCN as critically endangered for the forest elephants and endangered for the savanna elephants in 2021. Preserving these magnificent mammals is crucial and urgent for posterity and to achieve sustainable goals. The Coalition for Biodiversity Conservationists of Nigeria, CBCN, is working with all its partners, communities, children, and professionals in diverse sectors to protect the remaining elephant populations in Nigeria. Our sustainable strategies, advocacy, and community engagements play a crucial role in ensuring these elephants thrive in a conducive environment. Together, we all can protect and preserve our environment for peaceful coexistence of elephants and humans. This message is brought to you by the Coalition for Biodiversity Conservation of Nigeria and sponsored by the Small Plan Program, Global Environment Facility.
Wow, this is an insightful jingle, ma'am. So I know you would say more about this, so you're welcome to the floor. Dr. Salamat Sujifada, thank you. You can have the floor now, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Perpetua. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm very happy to be here and contribute to the celebration of World Elephant Day. Elephants are actually my best animals. Don't say it loud. Don't repeat it anywhere because I love biodiversity and I'm a carer of them. But truly speaking, elephants, I just don't get tired of them. I am going to be speaking to you on the topic you gave me, or I saw on the flyer. So it's called Safeguarding Elephant Habitats, Our Shared Responsibility. Another way to say shared is to say collective. So it's your business, it's my business, it's everybody's. And I'm very happy that the CG said that he is working with different organizations to achieve these safeguarding of the habitats. So I'm going to speak to you very briefly through pictures. It is work we have done and we're still doing. There's a lot to be done. Don't think that many things are happening, so maybe you should relax. No, honestly, there is a lot of work to be done to protect not only elephants, but our biodiversity. I am Salama Tufada. Of course, I told you people that I wear many hats. I will tell you more about myself. I will just continue now with my presentation. And I took out these quotes because they are very, very interesting and very relevant to today. So I took them out to share with you from some wise people. So the first one is, the question is, are we happy to suppose that our grandchildren may never be able to see an elephant except in a picture book? This is by Attenborough. Many of you know Attenborough, the journalist, wildlifer, or journalist turned wildlife. Elephants are magnificent creatures that deserve our respect and protection. This is by Goodall. Then you look at an elephant's eye, you see nothing but a gentle soul, no malice at all. And this is what Lawrence Anthony said. We admire elephants in part because they demonstrate what we consider the finest traits, human traits. So empathy, self-awareness, and social intelligence. This is from Franz de Waal. Then if we allow these magnificent creatures to disappear from the earth, we will lose more than just an animal. We will lose part of ourselves. And this is where I am actually today. I don't sleep well, not because of elephants alone, but because of many of the biodiversity that are threatened. So in terms of background, I was exposed to wildlife and national parks by my parents as a tourist a child tourist. I grew up and had that interest developed, and I became a scientist. So I read geography in University of Jos. I read my master's in environmental and resources planning in University of Jos. I came to the UK to do a PhD in conservation biology in Bangor University. And I have done so many short courses. I have attended many things just broadly in conservation and environment. You're happy to look at my website. I would give you the link at the end so that you can interact with what I'm doing. And then today I can tell myself or tell you that I'm an altruist. And I'm an altruist because what I carry is beyond just a mere obligation of religion or for money or for fame. What I truly carry to care for animals and for people, it is innate, is within me. So I can't stop. Even if I want to stop, I can't stop. So that is why I call myself that. Now, in terms of this talk, I'm going to just give you a little background. Don't worry, I'm going to run through it. I will not bore you. Then I will give you some output of the work from the work we have done, and then talk to you about the way forward, the things we're exploring to do further in this conservation space. So these are these beautiful, magnificent, awesome animals we're talking about. And the threats that we are dealing with are, we are focusing on African elephants. So both the forest and the savanna elephants. And if I can just briefly tell you the progress of my elephant journey is from my PhD, where I was looking at elephants as threats to habitats, to woody vegetation in Yankari Game Reserve. That was my first interest, apart from being a tourist that I just loved to look at them. When I started getting interest in science was to look at them as threats. But again, I fell in love with them. Then I worked briefly for Bauchi State government as a consultant, trying to update their management plan in between 2015 to 2018 under the government of M.A. Abubakar. And that was when I was exposed to a lot of crop raiding and how the conflict between humans and animals, especially elephants, was really, I was exposed to it to see how dangerous it was, because at the time, one elephant was killed because of crop raid. And the people were actually able to identify this elephant because the elephant was collared. So they knew the elephant and chased it till they found it, and they killed the elephant. WCS actually put the collar on them to help in their patrols and, you know, protecting those elephants. Then again, my next trigger was the IUCN report in 2021. And it was just to like a wake-up call to say, okay, we need to do something about it. The statuses of these animals have changed. So they have been recategorized from the forest animal was now listed as critically endangered, just like Sidi said, and then the savanna elephant as endangered. So at the time, in response, I actually did a new newspaper presentation talking, I think it's this day, you can find it this date, September 2021, and it will tell you my thoughts. You know, I published it about the dwindling population of elephants in Nigeria especially. And then again, I followed incidences report in Kebbi, in Okumu, in Omo, and Yankari, and things like that. And I think also that year we were able to do a meeting where the CG came and the NESRA chair, and we also responded from that meeting by writing a letter from CBCN to the Minister of Environment at the time. Even though we didn't get a response, a reply up to today, I don't care about that. I will keep working. Anyway, so we were able to get a funding from it's a UNDP funding, £50,000 and dollars from SPG. Jeff, some of you know the coordinator, Mrs. Ibironke, were successful. And when I say we, there are at least 3 main project officers, myself, Dr. Cross B. Taiwo, and Professor Musa. We got that money, and we chose 2 sites in the proposal to work. So for Yankari, we were looking at, of course, the savanna elephants, and then we chose Omo to look at the forest elephants. And the work was basically advocacy work to just increase awareness and raise sort of foot soldiers about elephant conservation or on elephant conservation. Then we also were able to increase the number of elephant guardians. There are some that WCS already have in Yankari Game Reserve. So we increased about 4 within the local communities. And then we were also able to get 4 more in Omo Forest Reserve. We bought them 8 new motorcycles, and we created 10 elephant conservation clubs on both sides. We also created youth competition between the local communities, and we gave them materials to do that, just to raise awareness on elephant conservation. Anyway, this was one of the first steps. Of course, we did a SWOT. So there was train the trainer, SWOT, and stakeholder analysis. And this rangers in Omo that were trained to support the work and understand what we were doing. And these are all pictures from us in Yankari. This was us, you know, showing, we took these motorcycles to the federal, to the state secretariat and showed the directors, permanent secretaries, and of course, but we didn't leave it with them. We actually directly to the village, shows who was responsible for the motorcycle, which we gave, and then we gave them quite a number of boots and raincoats and headlamps. In fact, I think we were able to bring some to the Conservator General just to see the kind of work we were doing. And when we did the club, you can see this letter that is up here. It was actually the club that we were able to establish. And these children wrote a letter to ask for permission to visit the emir and the other key people in the community. And this is what we wanted. And they actually visited. You can see another picture of them with the emir telling him the need to conserve the importance of elephants and the need to conserve elephants. So we were very pleased. These pictures, some of them came when, of course, we had left, and we were very pleased to see that what we planted didn't die with us. They continued working on it. So this also pictures our primary school outreaches around the forest reserve in Omo, which was also beautifully done. You can see the children all engaged, very engaging, and taking this message outside of the classroom to their parents and their communities. This is all pictures from our outreaches, different schools, different levels, primary school and secondary school levels. We didn't go to any tertiary level, but we really had very good cooperation from the communities themselves. And this is us. This is one of our key officers, Naziru. He was one of those that benefited from Train the Trainer workshop. So he became our main research officer on ground in Yankari. And of course, this was him handing over sporting equipment to one of the communities. And this is him also taking some motorcycles to, I think, Cargo community. This is me in, I think it was Dagudi and Chafa. Those are all places near Yankari. They are supporting communities around Yankari Game Reserve. And these are the coaches. So what we did was we take 2 balls and a pumping machine and some teas, and then give it to the coaches, and then they start the organized matches amongst the villages. And we were able to attend one of it, which was quite interesting. It was between Kuala and Pali. Pali won. It was 2-0, but it was very, very exciting to see. And everybody came out. We were surprised to see that even women, you know, because it's a predominantly Muslim community, Muslim girls came out in their hijab and they watched, they enjoyed watching the games, you know, and it was quite interesting to see that. So some of the outputs, of course, again, from that research was us being able to present the outcome of our work in different forums. This is, I can tell you, this is European Center for Sustainable Development. They usually have conferences. So there's an international conference on sustainable development. We have done a paper, which we have sent there. I will show you something bigger. And our paper has been accepted, and it is talking about co-creation approaches to support conservation of elephants in Yankari. And I'll tell you a little about it. But it has been accepted. We have minor reviews, and then we're sending it back tomorrow, actually. And I will be in Rome next month. By this time, I'm in Rome presenting that paper, you know. And because of the work we have done, they have also made me a moderator. If you look at this, I don't know whether you can see it. And our paper, I'm the second person talking here, but I'm moderating this whole session under environmental sustainability. And all of it is because of the work that we have done in Nigeria to conserve animals, elephants. And these are some of our mentees and some of my colleagues from University of Jos and from Aplori. And this is one of our outings to engage with local communities. And this was Shafandukuri. And we decided, we were actually invited by the emir. He arranged for lunch for us. And after work, we came and had lunch. So this was a beautiful palace that we decided to take a picture in front of. But one of the big things, I put this picture to tell you that one of the big things, or one of the things I'm very keen about, is mentorship. I don't play with mentorship because I know I cannot live forever. Already I'm going to be 50 this year. So if we know all the things we know, we have this education and skill that we don't transfer to others, then again, there's no continuity in the good things that we are doing. So it's important that we pass it on well. This is also one of my mentees that I'm so proud of her. She herself has become a mentor. She has a registered organization. I'm on her board. It's called You Recycle. And I've met her at least in 2 COP meetings, one in Glasgow and another one in Dubai last year. And she's doing fantastic work. And I put her picture just to tell you the benefits of mentorship, you know. So please, for all of you that are here, that you know, have reached the peak of your career or mid-career, please find people to mentor. There are many that are willing. mentor them, and let them continue this great work they're doing. And some of the outputs, again, is, of course, we got I've told you about this. I've told you about the research. So one is already covered. 6 research assistants were paid monthly for this work. Yes, they were paid monthly. They got their stipends to support the work. Then over 500 school pupils were educated and engaged in elephant conservation clubs. And over 400 youths are equipped to compete, sports and education, on elephant conservation. These are all outputs of the work we have done. Production of flyers, posters, elephant books, and banners. At least I've shown you some pictures, you've seen it. CG can tell you because we actually sent him a package. He can testify to this. So I'm not just talking. For the production of jingle, you have seen one of our jingles just before I started talking, and we have them in 3 major Nigerian languages. So we have them made in Yoruba, Igbo, and in Hausa. So we're happy to share with you, and it can help your advocacy work as well. So in terms of way forward, I'm happy that quite a few people have said it. The last speaker, Shei, mentioned it, the CG said it. These are all pictures of crop rates. And I get this picture sometimes daily. In fact, if I go to Nigeria and come back, that's all I keep getting. And you know, elephants are ruthless. They really crop rate. And these people, most of them, I can tell you up to 90%, rely on their farmlands for their sustenance, for themselves and their family. But elephants will come and raid the whole farm overnight. And it is a problem. It has gotten to a problem that sometimes they cannot even sleep at night because they have to guard their farmlands. That is how bad it is. So in terms of the way forward, we have been able to apply for another grant to see how we can support the reduction of crop raiding activities. So we are thinking of deterrents that the local communities are already using. And that's why we say our paper is called co-creation approaches, because we and the local communities are going to work together to produce acoustic deterrents that would deter the elephants from crop raiding. They already have some sounds they make and whatever. So we are thinking of maybe collecting some of these sounds and digitalizing and things like that. So we'll see. Then, yeah, so I said we have talked about support development of deterrents, empower local communities with other options of income generation. This is very crucial. We have to work together. I am not one person that will force interventions on people unless it is something that they welcome, because that is what is preached in conservation now. You don't think for the people, you work for the people to define, let them agree on what they want, so that at the end of the day, you're sure that they would use it because it is what they want, not for you because you have gone to school, come and give them ideas or to force them on some interventions that, you know, may not work. Then there are also schools that have been dilapidated completely, you know, and I believe that, you know, it's very important.
Be mindful of the time, please.
Yes, I'm finishing.
All right.
So there are schools that have been dilapidated. Without these children going to school, you cannot even find them to educate them on elephant conservation. So again, this is somebody just telling us thank you for the books that they have received from us. And this is to just acknowledge everybody. All the, I didn't put national parks, pardon me, CD, but these are all people that have been supporting the work that we have been doing. And in terms of how to get me, these are my emails, my Facebook, and my website. You can reach me anytime. I am available anytime. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm going to stop here.
Perpetua, over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This is very impactful, and we're grateful. Right now, we're going to be making welcome Mr. Felix Olusola Abayomi for his presentation. But sir, before you do so, we have on the agenda, we have key contributors, professors that want to contribute. Like I was during my introduction, I said they were not around then. So when they come in, I would introduce them. While we were talking, I think Professor Idem Enyek came in, and I want to welcome you, Professor, and for being part of this event. Professor Idem is a conservationist par excellence and the founder of Wildlife Preservation Center in Uyo, and we're honored to have you. Also, Professor Tajuddin Amusa came in while we were talking, and he's also a conservationist who has been in business for over 20 years. He is a renowned elephant researcher in West Africa. So we're honored to have you in our midst today. Okay, over to you, sir, Mr. Felix, for your presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
This one. This is not the one she displayed.
I would like to stand on existing protocol while also specifically thanking our patron for the Wildlife of Africa Conservation Initiative, Dr. Ibrahim Musaguni, the Conservator General of the National Park. We thank you, sir, for your continued support and guidance. And I know we have expressed it privately, but I want to crave your indulgence to also express my condolences to you for the recent loss. Thank you, sir, for
thank you very much.
Even with that, still, going strong, for us and for nature. I want to thank Dr. Salamatu Father for heeding to our call in a very short notice. Thank you, Ma, for coming and sharing with us this profound insight into how much work, that is being done, in Nigeria for elephants. I've been away from Nigeria now for since 2021, and I'm really impressed at what I'm seeing. I'm going to briefly share my screen. I'm not going to speak so much on what has already been said, but I'm just going to run through. I hope you all can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm just going to run through some of the salient points that have already been made. The CG has, spoken so much about, the importance of the day and government policies and what's being done. And also, my brother have also talked about access and the importance of, changing our communication, to the positive sides and, creating access. And Dr. Salamotu has also, espoused, on the current, conservation efforts that are going on. But I will start with, I've shared this picture before of this elephant. This is in Nasarawa, where I used to live. What's that area, Perpetua?
Abacha.
Yeah, Maraba area. So this was in the 1970s and 80s. This was sent to me by one of our volunteers. We traveled to Jos together to look to see that elephant, and this was one of those elephants, you know, and this was these elephants are involved in crop breeding, and the community wanted to kill them, but the chief at that time did not let them to be killed. Now, Elsa's grandfather is what we call an elephant whisperer. So he went into the forest and brought out these elephants and brought them to the chief's palace. Now, this young man sitting on this elephant today is currently the chief in Maraba. So, and these elephants were taken from here, were taken to the Josh National Park. And one of them is still alive today, but the others, I think there were 3 of them. Now, this is a common sight, elephants, coming to, and Dr. Salamotu also, espoused that in her speech as to, the reports that she gets on crop breeding and all that. And the question that comes to my mind is, why do they come crop breeding? When I travel to Jos, for example, from Abuja, left and right of the entire highway has been turned into farmland, you see. And this also, talks to what is currently going on when it comes to the Fulani cattle and then the farmers. Yes, I know we need to grow crops, but we cannot continue to, expand agricultural farmlands. We need to create another model, of farming that does not just continue to destroy forest and claim all the land. I mean, when I was young, it's a thing of joy for me, for example, when we see cows around. So, but I wonder, I looked at it then, I say, when left and right has been turned into farmland, okay, where do you want the cows to pass through? Maybe they need to just farm on one side and leave the other side. And for elephants, when they don't find food, they will go in search of food. So in their habitats that has been destroyed by climate change, their habitats have been destroyed by illegal logging, their habitats have been destroyed by encroachment, by expanding agricultural land, how do you want them to find food? They would definitely begin to veer into human populations. They will go on the farmland. So that is where I think we need to start intervention on, in terms of how do we restore vegetation in the national park or in protected area? How do we restore vegetation? How do we stop, and how do we bring new technologies into farming? I would like to share this short video, to also buttress the point of, creating, access. Now, this in America today, there is a great, movement for um, for um, for bears, and people go into national parks, and you will hear the excitement, of seeing one bear. There's so much excitement, and this is the access that, I mean, we are talking about. We have national parks that needs to be accessed. I've spoken to so many people, and they want to come to Africa, they want to come and see wildlife, but then they only think about going to, South Africa, or going to Uganda, or going to Namibia, you know, but nobody thinks about Nigeria because there is no access in Nigeria. Yes, I've seen a lot of work being done, in Nigeria, concerning wildlife, concerning elephants. Once in a while, yes, we see videos, but we need access. I, for example, I never saw my first elephant until when I went to Spain. And then since then, I came back. I've seen another elephant in Jos. I went to Jos to see the elephant in Jos, and I've seen elephants as well in other zoos. But when you talk about seeing an elephant in the wild, I've not been able to see one in the wild. Now, similar things that are happening, with other species, I would love to see that happen, in Nigeria. let's create access. People cannot love what they don't know. People cannot love what they don't see. When we begin to have those kind of access, I know, for example, in Cross River and the Afi Mountains, the Cameroonian side, and in some other parts of Africa, they are doing some work in creating access for tourism with the gorillas. Things like that. The CGF mentioned in his speech the importance of the World Elephant Day, why we need to protect them, because this is a day where we remind ourselves of the roles that they play, ecosystem roles, habitat notification, seed dispersal, water source, nutrient cycling, and all that. For example, you wonder why elephants come into farmlands, because those farmlands are actually rich in nutrients because of the effects of the elephants themselves, their dongs and all that. So they make those farmlands rich and then the vegetation grow. But the most important part of it is that we are currently being challenged by climate change, which is modifying and affecting, even protected areas. So that is where we need to, do much work. We need to reduce deforestation, we need to reduce urbanization, farmlands expansion, there was one day I was looking at the internet and somebody was displaying, how much farmland that it has in the lot, hectares and hectares and hectares. And I'm like, how much forest was destroyed to achieve this? Yes, he's trying to show, what he has done in terms of, creating hectares and hectares of farmland. But then, what did we lose for that to happen? So we need to begin to have new modern form of, agricultural system. For example, Ogun State, I saw recently online where they are doing soilless, and the governor actually went there and, supported them, soilless farming. So we need to begin to find new ways, and we just need to stop. Currently, wherever we are right now in terms of encroaching into, the wild spaces, we just need to stop as humans. We need to stop and just let this species have space to live. And in that way, we can begin to, any efforts that are being put in place, to mitigate conflict between elephants and the host communities, the percussion, the acoustic um, uh, instruments that Dr. Salamatu is saying that we want to begin to put, once we begin to put all those, but then if we begin to expand agricultural land, you see, as we humans sometimes get desperate, animals to get desperate when they don't find food. Even if you put up all these barriers, at some point they will get adapted to them, and they will push through, because hunger is a big thing, that can push people to do all kinds of things. So today, let's remind ourselves of the shared responsibility. We all have, a role to play. The communities, government, and the CG espoused a lot of policies that the government has put in place, and I'm happy that we have a government and we have a leadership that, is interested in wildlife conservation and doing all this. And I see a lot of international collaboration. We would like to see more. The national park has been an anchor point in Nigeria. I thank God for the leadership we have, in the national park. This is a man that is welcoming to everybody. This is a man that opened up his. This is a man that understands, the importance of collaboration. And I am yet to hear of any group, of anybody that comes to him that have an idea that he does not welcome. And we as WACI, we have done so much as well. We have partnered with the Global March for Environmental, Global March for Elephants and Rhinos. At a time, we were supposed to send people to Ambroselli Elephant Conservation, to go and learn, about their model, of conservation. But that was a period where, you know, I left Nigeria, and then we couldn't go forward with that. But we are still going to work at it. And I see a lot of different groups that are present in this webinar. WACI is open to partnerships. WACI is open to working with you, you know, as long as it's going to help in creating, you know, that awareness and education and impact on wildlife conservation. So what are the practical steps for conservation? We need sustainable agriculture. We need agriculture that will minimize habitat destruction. We need to bring in technology to agriculture. Ecotourism, we need to promote, generate alternative livelihoods for people. You know, yes, today we are having funding. You know, you have funding from this, funding from that, you know, to put people in place and join. But is it sustainable? For example, when we had funding for our sea turtle project, you know, but then when the funding stopped, what happened next? What happened next when the funding stopped? Because it wasn't funding from partner or donor agencies. It's not a sustainable model. The sustainable model, which we tried but we couldn't achieve, was to have created some kind of, you know, tourism, you know, for
we are running up.
Yes, sir. For sea turtle watching, you know, we need such thing, and then of course education, which we are doing now. I will leave us with these two words from Aldo Leopard, who has been termed the father of environmental ethics. We need ethics in our work. He said there are some who can live without wild things and some who cannot. You know, I believe all of us here are people who cannot live without wild things. And the last word in ignorance is the man who says of an animal or plant, what good is it? All these animals are good. In conclusion, our time to act is now. Each of us has a role to play in safeguarding the habitats of elephants. With our collective efforts, we can secure a future for elephants where they continue to thrive, serving as symbols of the natural world's resilience and beauty. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here, sir. Thank you so much. Please, I would like to call on Professor Amusa Tajuddin. Please, sir, we have limited time. So I would like, if possible, you could use just 3 minutes to contribute to the topic of today. You can have the floor, Professor Amusa, please. Thank you, sir. Professor Amusa, are you here with us, sir?
Prof.
Okay, in his absence, Professor. Okay, in his absence, please can we call on Professor? Yeah, I hope
can you call on Edem, Professor Edem?
Edem, yes, sir.
Yes. Hello, madam.
Yes, I'm calling on Professor Edem.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Good afternoon. Sasiji, I don't think any of them are around. Should we proceed?
I'm here.
Okay, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
3 minutes to just contribute to the topic of today, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Sorry, I've not been very consistent on the forum because we are at the same time in a workshop. So I have listened to part of the presentation. So permit me to stand on the already well-established protocol in this meeting. Having listened to the presentation and all the comments, I want to say that first, and foremost, we congratulate the Park Service of Nigeria and all other stakeholders who are participating in the celebration of the World Elephants Day. My organization, the Biodiversity Preservation Center, have sent their goodwill to this very important webinar. And our interest is not just to attend the webinar. We are very happy that the rhythm and pace of work currently going on in the country to safeguard the elephant populations within Nigeria and even the migratory populations that come in from time to time is being spearheaded by the National Park Service. Much kudos to all the unit parks and the park administration headed by Dr. the CG, another person, and the digital conservator, Dr. Goni. I want to say that a Nigerian elephant population have suffered so much from habitat destruction, apart from indirect human intervention in their habitats. We know a few populations that are hanging on the brink of extinction. For example, the population in Andoni Island of Rivers State, which is going down because of habitat destruction. A lot of devastation is happening in that habitat due to oil exploration and also development activities, pipelines. We know how much elephants need in terms of ranging patterns and ranging areas, but this is eluding them on that side, and something must be done. Just like what Dr. Salamatu and our group are doing at Omo Forest, and even in other sites like the Cross River National Park, whereby the Park Service have done a lot to protect the relic population in the urban division. I've joined the rest of the conservation stakeholders to provide some current information concerning our population of elephants, and we need to do much more. What we are doing today is a right step in the right direction. That's why I really appreciate, and despite my tight schedule, I have to be part of this meeting. I want to thank the organizers and appreciate the good work that you are doing. We follow up from there. God bless everybody. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Perpetua, can we pick on Professor Bruno if he's on?
Okay, sir. Yes, we can, sir.
Professor Bruno. Professor Bruno.
I don't think he's on, sir.
Professor Dr. Onoja. Dr. Onoja, NCF.
I don't also think he's on, sir. I think the only person I'm seeing here is Professor Amusa.
What about Dr. Mohammed from Malaysia?
I don't think he's on, sir.
Okay, then we'll go back to Professor Amusa because we called him before.
Yes, sir.
So if he's around, he can take the floor. Professor Judin, sir. Prof.
I'm seeing him on the attendance list, but maybe he's not close to his phone.
Well, it could be technical challenges.
Okay, maybe. Sir, with your permission, I would like Mr. Aliu Adamu Bajoga, if I'm correct, to say something, because yesterday at on our social media platform, a woman asked a question and she says, "Are there still elephants in Nigeria?" And I answered her and said, "Yes, there are elephants in Yankari Game Reserve." So I would want, if possible, Mr. Aliu to just say a little, just 1 minute before we go into question and answer about it.
Mr. Bajoga can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, Mr. Aliu, please, if you're here, kindly say a few things about the elephants in Yankari Game Reserve.
Hello, madam. 1 second, please. Hello?
Okay,
go ahead.
Hello?
Okay, somebody's on.
Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, the organizers.
Go ahead. Yes, time. Go ahead.
Yes, thank God I'm on the meeting right now. My manager stepped in, so maybe I would just hand it over to you. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. While he was speaking, Dr. Onoja came in. While he was speaking, Dr. Onoja came in.
Okay, let's take the manager from Yankari first. Then Dr. Onoja can.
All right, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
So good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
My name is Noura Yusuf Ahmed, and I'm the project manager for the Wildlife Conservation Society here in Yankari Game Reserve and Bauchi State.
Good.
So regarding the elephants in Yankari,
yes,
we estimate the population to be somewhere between 100 and 150. Previously, before WCS's intervention many years back in the transition between national park to state government, quite a majority of the elephants, and estimated previously the population estimate was about 350. So they were rapidly killed due to rampant poaching in the transition period. However, thankfully, since WCS's intervention, building capacity of rangers through regular training, empowering them with allowances, camping patrol rations, and other interventions, we estimate that between 2015 to date, we've lost only 7 elephants, and the majority of them likely due to reprisal killings for crop raiding. This is now the biggest threat to Yankari's elephant population currently. Farms have grown, human populations, as you know, have grown around the reserve significantly over the years, and now farms abut right up to the edge of Yankari Game Reserve. So elephants find it very easy to access cassava farms, maize farms. This is all a great temptation to them. And farmers are becoming more and more frustrated with the lack of compensation payments. Although we, WCS, have been trialing many interventions, we have a network of 18 elephant guardians around the reserve helping us monitor the elephants. We put satellite collars on the elephants in 2019 last. 6 elephants were collared. Unfortunately, the batteries have run down, but we have funding to put another 4 elephant collars on them later this year. As we speak, the collars are being shipped from South Africa. We're trialing other things as well. We've built 11 watchtowers around the reserve, tall steel structures that the communities can climb and monitor their farms. They can see the elephants approaching from the distance, and it keeps them safely out of the reach of the elephants. Before, they used to sleep on the ground, and you can imagine the risk of being trampled by a herd of elephants is very high, as well as snakes and other hazards. So now we've built those 11 watchtowers focused around the communities. Through our network of elephant guardians, we've got a picture of where the elephants like to visit year after year, and there's a set pattern. They don't change their behavior very much. So we know exactly where they're going, and we have constructed the watchtowers in those locations. We've also recently trialed something called a smelly elephant repellent, which is an organic mixture of chili, garlic, neem leaves, eggs, cow dung that is left to ferment in a barrel for a month. Smells very, very bad. This was developed by a professor in the University of Uganda, Ugandan University, sorry. And it's proved very effective in the 2 communities we've trialed it. We've also trialed beehive fences around the reserve, again, to help mitigate this human-elephant conflict. So those are some of the interventions that we've done to try and mitigate the growing issue of human-elephant conflict around Yankari Game Reserve. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Please, let's be mindful of our time. We don't have time anymore, please. Sir, with your permission, can I go ahead and call Dr. Onoja, sir?
Let's go ahead.
Dr. Onoja, please. Please, 2 minutes. We don't have time anymore, please. And we still have the question.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It's a pleasure to be here and to also show our voice as NCF to the celebration of World Elephants Day. Good to see you, Felix, after a very long time. We are, yes, as the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, in fact, we are currently at a workshop now to see how we can, my guy is there as well, CG. Well done. We are currently at the workshop to update the key biodiversity areas and ensure that these are areas that are important for elephants. Especially, we are focusing on the southern part of the country, and that's quite important for the critically endangered forest elephants, especially after they have been considered as a different species from the Northwest African. So the sites are very important for them. Apart from the Homo forest reserve that we are managing currently, we're also exploring to see how we can manage a small site in Andoni, where some of these elephants are also found, and they are very threatened because there are no protected areas that side. It's just them and the communities. So we're working very closely with the communities as well to see how we can make that happen. So because of time, I think I will just stop here and then I'll just say wishing everyone a very happy World Elephant Day as we seek to join hands together with the National Park Service, which is the umbrella service from the government that seeks to protect our landscape and our species, and to everyone involved in the protection of our unique species. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Onoja.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Onoja.
Let me say one or two things about the comment from Yankari. Okay. Yes, from what we have heard, I think the efforts of the government of Bauchi State and the Wildlife Conservation Society is encouraging, is commendable. So we commend them for that effort, and we also implore them to do more, because from a population of 350 to a population of between 100 and 150 is something that should be sad about. So please, despite the effort, we still employ you to please do more so that within a short period of time, the population can be scaled up. Thank you very much. Then next, Perpetua, go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, would like to give Dr. Victoria Okeo just 1 minute to add something to the meeting. Just 1 minute. Dr. Victoria Ma, please, you can go ahead and contribute something.
Okay, all right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Just to quickly correct, I'm not a doctor yet, but I own a MSc degree in mathematical ecology. So I'm glad to see the whole effort going on with elephant conservation in Nigeria. I had the privilege to do a study on elephant movement and habitat selection on some Southern African countries, and seeing this happen in our country gladdens my heart. So I think that if conservation effort will be fruitful, then the community around this habitat must be carried along. It is a very important thing to do, because if we don't involve them, the actions may be counterproductive. So this is my little contribution considering the time that we have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.
How is Kanji? Victoria.
CG, sir, forgive me. Good afternoon, sir. Kanji is really great,
Yes.
and I look forward to meeting you in person soon, sir.
All right, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, CG, sir.
Okay, sir, I don't know. We have just 5 minutes to close the meeting. And I don't know, do we just go ahead and do the closing remarks so that people
Go ahead, go ahead, so that we are not cut off.
All right, sir. Please,
Yes,
kindly send in your email address.
We have already viewed one documentary, so that is enough.
Yes, send in your email, send in your question via email. Mr. Francis, please drop WACI's email so that everyone can send in their question. Okay. Sir, I think I just got. You can just take 10 minutes of question and answer. We will not be cut off. So let's just have 10 minutes question and answer. If you have a question, please indicate now. Okay. So that we can have the speakers available to answer your questions. We would not be cut off.
Anybody
Mr.
with a question?
Tajudeen is here. He's raising his hand. CG, sir. Mr. Tajudeen.
Okay,
Professor
let
Tajudeen
him
is
go ahead.
raising his hand.
Please go ahead, Mr. Tajudeen.
All right.
Yes. Mr.
Professor Tajudeen, please go ahead.
Is he the one with Samsung?
No, he's not the one with Samsung.
There's another person with Samsung.
Yes, there's another person with Samsung. Okay, Samsung, you can go ahead, Mr. Samsung. I don't know, it didn't show your name, it just shows Samsung.
Samsung, go ahead. Questions, comments?
CG, can I come in, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I know you mentioned during your presentation that all the national parks in Nigeria right now has the presence of elephants, except Old Oyo National Park. But do we have, in terms of figure, like a range of how many elephants we have in Nigeria currently? I know some of them also migrate to Cameroon, but if we had to put a rough figure of elephants in Nigeria, what are we looking at, sir?
For the figure we are looking at, both Savannah bush elephant and the forest elephant, we are looking at a figure of 570. That is as at 2021, the estimate we had. So since then, we have not been able to do another count, but from the estimate we had 2021, we are looking at 570. You have had the one in Yankari, and based on our estimate, the one in Yankari, as at that time, were about 135. 135. So thank God the manager said looking at between 100 and 150. Then for the forest elephant, Okomo itself is about between the range of 85 and 105. So same Cross River and the other Omo Forest Reserve, and the one that we have just recently been informed about by Professor N, and that is the ones in Andoni, because the chairman of that local government has visited us and is requesting for technical assistance as a way of trying to protect those elephants there. So Nigeria as a whole, we are looking at the figure of 570 elephants, it plus minus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Please, any other question?
Samsung, the man with Samsung is still on.
He's still raising his hand.
I think that's your account, sir.
Oh, my account? Is it me?
No, is it? I don't know.
Yes, that is the CG's account.
Okay, I think yeah, is your account, sir.
Okay, so please ignore it.
Okay. Okay, we have a question from Omo Bolawale, if I'm not wrong. He said, how frequently is the census of elephants in Nigeria conducted?
That question is to whom?
He just dropped it at the comment section.
Okay. Well, the frequency of elephant census in Nigeria is not frequent. It's supposed to be a systematic frequency, maybe 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, 3 years. But you realize that because of the divergence of the divergent ecosystem we have, if you want to compress the figure from the protected areas and the figures from the free ranges, you have to approach organization like this Nigerian scientific NEST, environmental science something NEST. In fact, most often they are the ones that are in the forefront as
I think the CG is having network breach. CG, sir, are you with us, sir?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, sir.
Have I been heard? Have I been heard?
Your network was having glitches, so we didn't hear you at the time.
I said the frequency of elephant inventory is not regular. So in other words, it is not frequent. Because
okay.
I told you the last figure we had is as at 2021. So, and before 2021, I think the figure was about 1992 when National Park was managing Yankari.
Okay, sir. Thank you for
Yes.
that. I hope Mr. Omobowale, your question has been answered. Then we have a question from Ms. Eniola who says, Mr. Felix talked about having more access to embrace biodiversity. How does Nigeria achieve this?
Mr. Felix, over to you.
Well, I think that question is going to be more to the managers of these different protected areas. I know if it's privately owned, like the zoos or those that run private conservation centers. But for the national park, I know there are tourism. I've never visited Yankari, but I know people who have. So I know they have. You could book. Let's have like maybe a platform where people can book tours, um, guided tours. So I think it all comes down to the managers of all these different parks, whatever they can do in terms of creating guided tours and create a platform where people can actually book the tours, or work with existing tour operators so that they can add Nigeria to their tour offerings that they make. So those that's what I would think can be done.
Okay. Ms. Eniola, I hope your question have been answered. Professor Amusa, he apologizes that he's having a tech challenge. So he's apologizing for not being able to speak.
Can I add something?
Okay.
I'm personally building a travel company. I'm currently building a travel company and a tour company, but I can't travel yet. I can't leave the United States as of now. So when I can leave, I will first of all want to, embark on a tour myself, you know, experience it, see how it looks like, and then we can then begin to market it. Some of the tours we are currently marketing are the ones that I have done, and they are limited for now to the United States. But hopefully, when I can travel, when I can leave the US, um, we will begin to add international destinations, and I would want to see Nigeria, first on that list. But I would want to first of all experience it, see how it's like, have a schedule, you know, um, and at that point, we would love to work with the managers on the ground of all these various centers and see how we can create a tour. And when we have experienced it and see how it's like, then we can begin to introduce it. I know there are others that are already currently being marketed, but most of them are from South Africa, Uganda, Zambia, and all that. So, but not by us, but by other groups.
Can I comment, please?
I have a question.
The man that asked that
Please,
question.
one after the other, please.
Are you satisfied with the response from
Hello,
Mr. Felix?
Savior.
Yes, go on with your question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, during your presentation, you said something about the signing of the National Park Service Act into law by the government. And generally, we know that natural resources with elephant inclusive has been faced with a major challenge of weak implementation of policies and regulations that are guiding it. So when you made mention of the signing of the National Park Service Regulation, I was impressed. And I want to ask the measures that are being put in place to ensure strong implementation of these policies to ensure effective in order to ensure strong conservation of the natural resources we have around. What are the measures?
So thank you very much for that question. Like I said, the regulation is to bridge the gap between the act, because the act
The network, I think the CG is having network.
for their workers to operate under our own law. Without that regulation, they wouldn't have been operating under our own law. So that is one beautiful thing about that regulation. And for the effective implementation, both So for the effective implementation of, sorry, my network went off. So for the effective implementation of both the act and the regulation, we actually leveraging on collaboration with other sister security agencies like the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Civil Defense, the DSS, and of course the Nigerian Police Force, and to some extent the Nigerian Customs, because in the effort to fight wildlife crime, you realize that the Nigerian Customs is always impounding other items like elephant tusk, pangolin scales that are bound to be exported. And when they impound this, they send this to NESRA. Those are dead specimens, but for the live specimen, like the parrots, the other birds people, they have been confiscating or impounding. Mostly they send the suspect and the item to the National Park Service for prosecution. That collaboration has actually been helping to implement the wildlife laws. So in addition to the improvement in the use of technology we use, using drones to monitor areas we could not reach to, then we also use this drone to collect intelligence, which we share, like I've said, with the Army, the DSS, the Custom, and of course, the Nigerian Police Force. So to that extent, this is how we embark on implementing this law, in addition to others that I may not be able to mention for the purposes of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I come in?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. My comment is on or a contribution rather is on actions that can be taken to preserve and protect elephants' survival generally.
Okay.
In order to do that, we need to adopt a holistic approach. There is a need to address the issue of elephant in captivity. That is captive exploitation of elephants. Unlike the national park where elephants roam in their natural habitat. So elephants under captive elephants, in some places like the zoo, circus, and private parks, they are kept in
Are you having network challenges?
Captivity for entertainment, sport, and psychological and survival for elephants in captivity.
I've not heard some part of your comments.
Sorry, should I repeat it?
Yes, go ahead, please.
My contribution is on actions that can be taken to preserve and protect elephant survival generally, not just for elephants. In order to do that, we need to adopt a holistic approach. We should look into the issue of elephants in captivity, that is captive exploitation with elephants. Unlike the National Park Service, where animals roam freely in their natural habitats, in some places, elephants are kept in captivity for entertainment, tourism, and labor, like the zoo, circus, and then private parks. They are often kept in poor, deplorable states, leading to physical and psychological harm. In some instances,
what's your view now?
Okay, how do we address this? It's by strengthening laws and then rigorous enforcement.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You see, the issue of ex situ and in situ conservation are two sides of the coin. Ex situ sometimes service in situ. Because where your exit conservation is successful, you can reintroduce back to the wild. And where you want to establish exit, you can also explore from the institute. So it's a matter of the left hand rubbing the right hand. What you need to do is to call on animal keepers to, as much as possible, try to keep to the ethics of animals' rights. Animals, as you see them, have rights. So we should, as animals keepers, respect those rights so that we will not keep animals in deplorable condition. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Sabo Ahmed Hadija has been raising his hand. So please, can you go ahead and ask your question and be brief about it? Then after him, Mr. Abdulmalik Imran will go ahead and ask his question. Thank you.
Khadija,
Sabo Hadija, can you go ahead and ask your question? Mr. Abdulmalik Imran, can you ask your question since Sabo Ahmed is not responding?
Mr. Abdulmalik.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Please, I have a lot of questions, but since there is no time, let me just go straight to the point, sir.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, I was in Port. At the checkpoint, I saw the villagers with animals on top of their patrol, the vehicle they are using. They used to go to their farms. But I was trying to tell the policeman, sir?
Which type of animal?
One of the animals that I just have on sight was the buck.
Okay.
Yes. So I was trying to alert the policeman that these people have committed serious atrocities by killing all these animals, and you are collecting money to allow them pass. Please, what effort is the city trying to do concerning raising awareness to the military and the paramilitary with regards to seeing such activity and allow these people to pass? And also, sir, we that work at the airport, we have some bird species which maybe there are updates of this bird species being endangered, and we don't know. In the process of habitat modification and just chasing them away, and the one process or the other, we end up killing some of these birds. Please, I would like the CG to have a collaborative effort with the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, most especially the Birds and Wildlife Hazard Control Unit, so that they will be having just like what we are doing now, so that we will be enlightening ourselves, trying to upgrade our knowledge, because no knowledge is wasted. What I know last week might not be what is happening this week. Maybe there are changes. So please, I will, so that you'll be updating us time to time, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Malik.
Thank you, sir.
For the animal you saw with the villagers on the vehicle, it's a pity you have not been able to identify the animal, but that being what it is, I want to commend you for your concern and interest in the preservation of wildlife resources. Next time you come across that kind of animal or scene, maybe we'll share our numbers in the national parks. The nearest park to you in Port Harcourt there is Okomu National Park or Cross River National Park. You can call the park director, draw his or her attention to that discovery, and immediately the director will call the Ministry of Environment of that state to draw their attention to what you have found. And I'm sure the Ministry of Environment will actually spring into action to identify the place, do the investigation, and probably hand it over to the appropriate authority. That is my advice. One. Two, the other issue you are calling about the collaboration and the creation of awareness. I have just told you our modus operandi with the army, with the DSS, with the police. And with this, we are creating awareness. I mean, not say necessary awareness has been created. No, it's a continuous process. For us to be able to bring the cause on our side, is as a result of the awareness and the interaction we are always having. That has helped us to be able to have to get the person to understand what we are doing and also bring them to our side. Then the effort of the United Nations Office for Drug and Crime in the fight against wildlife crime in the country is actually bringing different organizations together: the judiciary, the regulatory body as far as crime is concerned, EFCC, ICPC. So all this bringing together of these organizations actually impacting greatly in our fight as far as wildlife conservation is concerned. Thank you. I hope you have responded to your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, then for the airport, the Ministry of Environment has just constituted a committee, national committee headed by me, with FAN and other airport organizations as members of that committee to work on how to be able to create publicity around the airport. We have met as a committee and we realize that there's need to cut the Ministry of Transport, Railway, the National Road Workers, Transport Workers, and other organizations into this committee so that it will be a holistic effort towards containing illegal wildlife activities and creating the necessary awareness. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Please, do we have any other question? Mr. Sabo, are you ready to ask your question now, or should we move to the last agenda on the programs?
So I think we'll move to the last item on the agenda. That's closing remark.
Yes, sir. So we'll go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. My question is that apart from the elephant, Nigeria.
Is that Mr. Madi?
I say Nigeria is one of the 37 African countries. We have an elephant. Nigeria is one of the 37 African countries. We have an elephant found in the wildlife. So, yes. Some I would say that you have the elephant in Yankari. What it doesn't matter in hello?
Yes.
So I think last time I visited the one.
Yes.
Hello. I see. Hello.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Last year I visited the Meduguri, Sambisa Forest Reserve. I am seeing a lot of elephants in that area. So I think I'm very summarize the ledger of the elephant in Yankari Game Reserve. Okumi.
Okay. Yes. For for your visit to Begona, Sambiza, or Chimnumi Dukuma. In the course of my remark, I did mention the recent arrest of an elephant, rescue of an elephant, baby elephant that was captured, and the rangers in charge of the national park rescued that elephant and arrested the suspect. The United Nations Human Organization working in that part of the country, through one of their area survey, have found that there are about 250 elephants in Kalabalgi government area of Borno State, which is part of the Duguma sector of Third Basin National Park. So that is to tell you that the population of elephant is thriving in that part of the country, just like the population is also thriving in the forest area of the country. And I believe the collaboration between the Nigerian Customs, the Nigerian Immigration Service in that part of the country, and the Nigerian Army is helping a great deal to the protection of those elephants in that part of the country. So this is raising our hope, that as far as elephant population is concerned in the country, it is a hope rising issue. And we are hopeful that with the current trend of effort we are putting on, the synergies between development partners, governmental organizations, and other individuals, it is my hope that we'll be able to, if not adequately protected, but at least to ensure that our elephants are protected to be able to propagate. Don't forget, we also have some elephants in zoos, like somebody mentioned. And so, though it has been long, I've heard of elephants littering in the zoo, but I know for some years back, elephants in Kano Zoo have littered. So that is encouraging. So as much as possible, we do not encourage animals being kept in zoo because of some of the conditions of the zoo, like the Imo Zoo that had to be closed up. If you have heard of the story of the animals that were there, it was a solid story. And that was why that zoo had to be closed up, because the animals were not getting the adequate attention you are supposed to get. Same thing with the zoo in Kaduna. That zoo had to be closed up at the instance of the Federal Ministry of Environment, because even the lion there, by the time it was at least photographed and shown, you could see a lion that was dying of hunger. So that is why we are always of the view that we do not encourage many animals to be kept in zoo. If you have many, we encourage you to release a few back to the wild so that they can continue to enjoy their freedom and proliferate as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Apart from that.
Yes.
Yeah. Apart from that, sir, why do you now, up now, you are not negotiating with the Nigerian airport, negotiating your work? Because I think last 5 months ago or 6, I think I like the Nigerian Customs Service to arresting the container of Madrid and the Pangolin inside the airport of Lagos. So, sir, up now, what you are not negotiating your work with the airport to tackling the wildlife crime in the country?
Why?
Why you are not setting the committee, or why you are not negotiating your work with the Nigerian Customs Service and the Nigerian airport to negotiating the team to tackling the wildlife crime? Because the last 5-6 months or 1 year, I think I like the Nigerian Customs Service to arrest the pangolin inside the airport. After then, like the two container at Niger airport, at Lagos airport to arresting the two container with Madrid. So, sir, which up to now, you are not negotiating the boosting your morale to collaborating the Nigerian airports, the rangers you are working inside the airport.
Well, Mr. Sabo Ahmed, I thank you for that insight. But the National Park Service have an agreement with the Nigerian Armed Forces, that is from the Office of the Chief of Defense Staff, to collaborate with any of the service, Nigerian Army, Navy, and Air Force, wherever we have either a battalion, a platoon, or a barrack of the Army, Air Force, or Navy that is closer to any of our national parks. For example, the Air Force base in Benungwari collaborates with Kamuku National Park. The Air Force base in Kanji collaborates with Kanji Lake National Park. So these are the collaboration we are having. It is not that we are not collaborating with them. We are actually collaborating, and courtesy of the Chief of Defense Staff. So for the custom, I have told you that. And every day, anytime there's any arrest, live or dead, custom normally does not keep it. They send it to the relevant organization. If it is a dead specimen, like ivory or pangolin scales, they send it to NESRA. If it is a live specimen, eagles, other birds, tortoise, they send this live specimen to the National Park Service. And after some rehabilitation, it is either we keep it for continuously for recreation, or depending on how we observe the animal, we arrange for that animal to be released back to the wild. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes, Perpetua.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please, right now, we'll hand over the floor to Ms. Eniola. But before then, please, Mr. Shei, after Ms. Eniola finishes her closing remark, kindly help us to take a group photograph so that we can use it for publicity. Mr. Eniola, please go ahead. Ms. Eniola, sorry, please go ahead for your closing remark.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Perpetua. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, CG, sir. Okay, standing on existing protocol, I would like to say a very big thank you to Mr. Felix and Mrs. Perpetua for the opportunity to give these closing remarks. Also, I'd like to appreciate the CG for Ibrahim Goni for his opening remarks, and also for the endeavors of the National Park Services towards the conservation effort. So our esteemed speakers would like to say a very big thank you to Mr. Sheifumi Akimbote for Salamotu Father and Mr. Felix for their contribution. Indeed, the presentation were beautiful and insightful. In fact, it was an insightful afternoon. So I'd like to say thank you to our esteemed speakers. We'd like to say thank you to our collaborators and to everyone that participated in questions and in answers and in contribution. We'd like to say thank you. And we'd like to, commend the efforts of all WACI officials for making sure that the event was hosted today. Excuse me. And also to our chief host, thank you very much, sir, once again for hosting this and for allowing us to do this today. So we'd like to bring the meeting to an end right now. And we'd like to say that WACI is on all social media platforms, on our Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. So you can follow us at Wildlife for Africa Conservation Initiative, rather, on all social media platforms to follow on us, to know what our next events are going to be, and also to join us in this conservation effort. I like to close with this quote that says that let us protect the soil, water, the air, and biodiversity as a legacy for our children. We all know that the earth is our home. So we like to implore everyone that they should continue their conservation efforts to the end that we have a sustainable environment. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Saz and Maz, for joining this event. And also, we want everybody to drop their email address, get a couple of presentations that were all shown today. Thank you very much, Saz and Maz. I'm really grateful for this opportunity once again. Thank you very much, Saz. Thank you very much, Maz.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Eniola, for the closing remark. And I think with this, I think we are done.
Yes, sir. Please, Mr. Shea, please, can you take a photograph?
Absolutely. We all turn on our videos, please.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah. Wetlands. Range and
We're good.